Ever fancied owning your own man cave? Follow us on a journey as we build one using basic hand tools, which will hopefully go from looking like this to this. Stay tuned to Man vs. Man Cave. So like many people, we've extended the house as far as we can go. So we've gone up, we've gone out. I'll just give you a quick look at that. So we've done the extension at the top, we've done the one lower down, then we've done a conservatory, but we're still running out of space. So what we're considering to do now is build a new super shed up the end of the garden. Now we've already got a base there, so we're going to stick with that and hopefully tile a little bit more. So this little section here, we're going to do a little bit more cementing in there for a bit of an additional base, and then we're hoping to go on the slabs down here. So we're going to do a sort of a wooden subframe on top of this, get it all nice and level, and then build the new shed up from that. I'll just give you a look inside our old shed, which we've sort of outgrown, and there you have it. So as you can see, we're a little bit pushed for space to say the least. So hopefully in the next few weeks we will be showing you some film of how we're going to actually make the shed. We're going to try and do it as a DIY setup in the cheapest possible way, using if we can reclaim materials. We've got a few doors over here that I've reclaimed, so we've got a patio door that we're going to use for the construction of it. And then just under these sheets over here, I've got another couple of doors which ultimately we're going to use as windows. Anyway, I'll catch up with you soon. So there's all the tools we've used to build the shed. So obviously we've got the set square down there, hammer, tape measure, the drill driver. I mean, I like screwing, but there's a lot of screws going in here, so you really need one of those, and a spare battery if you got one. Obviously the drill, we use scissors for cutting the damp-proof course, obviously a level. Now I've cut everything by hand, but you could obviously use an electric saw. I'm just trying to offset the amount of beer that I'm going to consume in the man cave by losing a bit of weight actually building the man cave. I don't know if that's going to work out, but that is the theory. So yeah, I've done it the hard way. Right, so the wood's just turned up. Might have over-ordered, but obviously this is only the first part of the building, but check it out. So we've got all our OSB there, and we got all this stuff in here as well. So let's just get round the other side and show you what we've got there. I don't know if you're seeing that. Now the other parts we've got are the damp-proof membrane, which we got from Screwfix, $39.99. I'll just show you a shot of that. So there's the label there. And also we've got the Tyvek outer coating, which will keep the building dry while we're finishing it. So and that will go directly underneath the metal roofing. So I'll give you a shot of that as well. So it's looking quite a bit clearer now. It's a good space. Now it's important to get your frame not only level but completely square, and the way you do that is to measure diagonally from corner to corner. The measurements should equal the same, and then you know you've got it exactly square. So we've completed the base now, so what we're going to do is raise it up on little feet like this. So they're going to go into the ground, and we're going to raise this up just to compensate for the lack of levelness of the original slabs here. Not ideal. Obviously we would rather it went on a concrete base that was level, but you know, we're just adapting to the conditions here. So that peg will go down and we'll space the frame off accordingly. Then we'll have pegs all the way along the floor and at various points in the middle of it as well, just to make sure that the floor doesn't bounce up and down. long. So this is the damp proof layer that we're going to lay underneath our frame, so we're just cutting it down to size because it is absolutely massive. It's 15 by 4 metres, so oversized compared with what we've got, so we're going to trim it down. So that's the damp proof course in. So here's just a close up of the feet that we're putting in each corner. So we've cut them off level with the surface, and they literally stand the bearers off the floor, just so we can get the floor level. So that's the end post. And we miss one, another post there. Miss one, another one. And we got one on the end there. So equally spreading the load throughout all those posts all the way around there. That's the general idea. So it's important you get the base completely level. So if you take a look down here, yep, we're spot on there. And if we go this way, we're not bad there either. So that's just showing you the gap between the joists and the base. So it's a little bit, about an inch at its widest part. Just shows how unlevel the base was. Well, it's a bit difficult to see, but this is the first of the wall sections going up on the left hand side. So we've done the angle of the roof, which we've got a drop of 3 inches front to back. Got like a rain cover on it at the moment, just for overnight. Right, I was going to show you how we went about constructing the entire shed. The left hand side, we've had a little bit of an issue with the neighbours. There's quite a height difference between our garden and the neighbours, and it's about a foot. So obviously anything we build at the end of the garden looks absolutely huge. So we've done a compromise in that we're slimming down one of the modules to probably 2 feet less than it was, and reducing the height. So the height at the back, the maximum roof height, is going to be about just over 2 metres at the back, rising to you know, a little bit over that at the front just to get the full for the roof. So we've cut it down to the absolute bare minimum. I'll show you what the shed looks like at the moment. And obviously we're going to take it back down and trim it off today, but you know, you've got to consider your neighbours when you're building something like this, so hence why we're making the alterations now. Better now than once you built the whole thing and people are going, "Ooh, that's terrible," you know. So I'll show you the you know, the shed as it stands, and then I'll show you the complication we got with the neighbours. So so let's just have a walk down the garden. So I don't know if you can see, that is the height of it at the moment, and as you can see it is quite a thing. So I'll just flip this screen around, hold on, so I can see what I'm filming. Yeah, so as you can see it is quite high and above that fence line as well, and don't forget that's not the finished height because you've got the rafters going on there, so you've got another 5 inches on top of that, and then a bit of 18mm, and then the corrugated roofing. But the main trouble that we've got is if you look over the fence here, they are way down. So we're literally a foot above them. And if we look over the back here, the same thing. They are absolutely way down there. So we're up where that concrete plinth is our floor height basically. That's where we start. So as you can see, that causes us a little bit of a problem with the height at the back. So so we're trimming that down. So what we've decided to do now is we're going to go down to that level there. So that's going to be where our rafters start, which is about 2.1 metres at the lowest point, and that's going to go up to another 5 inches, so ultimately it'll end about up there. So it would have been 5 inches on top of that, so it'd be quite a structure, you know. So the new back wall is up. You can see it's just a little bit above the shed roof, so we've now got a 2 metre headroom inside at the back. Typical weather. So we've been rained off today. I was trying to fit the door and the front panels today, but the weather's had other ideas, so we've covered it all in. Seems fairly dry inside. I've just been in there, so we're waiting until better weather. Hopefully bank holiday is going to be better, but that's not often the case. Now, the one thing we've learnt from this project is it's best to look at what your neighbours have done. So although we could have gone to maximum height, I think now we've compromised and come down to a reasonable size. I think there's only one neighbour that is slightly miffed, but they are down a even bigger dip than the rest of them. So I mean, what we've come up with is just slightly taller than the existing shed. Right, I'm going to take you for a sneaky peek inside the shed. Obviously it's covered up, it's fairly dark in there, but hopefully you'll be able to see what it's like inside and the size of it. Here we go. Right. Okay, as I said, fairly dark in here, but there you go. Obviously these downstrokes, we're going to put some more in here for a bit of extra support, but they're just about a board's width at the moment. You can see the back is better. So there you go. So it's a fairly big area. I'm quite pleased with it. This is the bit where we're actually going to walk in and walk through to module 2. So you know, the module 2 is going to be slightly bigger than this as well. So this is like a little entrance hall. So it'd be quite nice, I think. Obviously double glazed door there, letting in plenty of light. Now the roof height, I don't know if you can see. Let's so joist wise, you know, I've got a fair bit above my head there, so it's not too bad, you know. I mean, we've absolutely slimmed it down. You can see just above the door there we've got very little gap there, so we've slimmed it down right to the bare minimum that we could get away with, trying to keep the neighbours happy really, because no one wants to look out on a massive kind of thing at the back garden. So we've tried to consider everyone in what we've done here, so we haven't got any worries if someone gets a bit funny, you know. Although you can build these things to the maximum, we were going to go to 15 square metres. It's not necessarily that you have to do what you can get away with. It's more what's in keeping with what your neighbours have got and what's the decent thing to do. So I think we've arrived at something that's a compromise for us, but a nice size. I think it's turned out a lot better than we had planned. If it had been a massive square box at the end of the garden, it might have looked a bit uninteresting, but now we're going to have a second module that's going to go out slightly further. There's a little bit more detail to the property, and we've got the nice little overhang at the front there as well, which we can put some lights in, so it'll look all nice at night as well. So altogether I think we've arrived at slightly bigger than the average shed, certainly better fitted out. We're going to insulate it and everything so that it'll be quite warm in the winter, and certainly probably better insulated than the house anyway. So yeah, watch this space. That just gives you an idea of the height difference between our neighbours on the left and our neighbours on the right. So you can see that the sheds are fairly in line on the right hand side, but it's quite a significant drop down, about a foot or so to the neighbours on the left. Bloody weather. Okay, so the plans for today are we're going to get the double glazed door in, get the front all panelled out and get it weather tight on the front. So I'll just let you have a look inside because it's a little bit brighter now than when we last took a look, but it's all going quite nicely. Alright, there we go. So you can see inside now. Not a bad size space, I'm thinking. Obviously the roof's still, you know, we're just keeping the rain off at the moment. But once that's bolted in, that'll give us a bit more rigidity on the building. Hold it all nice and square. I think you're probably wondering what I'm holding this together with, so I will show you. One down here. Right, so the main structure's been screwed together with these, which I was glad of, because when we had to take the thing back down, obviously we could unscrew these. They are super drive, and they are, there we go, you can see that there. Okay. And the rest of it is held together at the moment. Just the felt's held on with little felt pins, which are a nightmare to get in, I have to say. You know, you keep banging your fingers and all that, tiny little buggers to try and nail in. These corner brackets, if you can see that there, you can see they're screwed in. Now, most brackets that you use for roofs and that would be, they're like twist nails. I think they're called Sherrodi's nails, something like that. But what we're going to do is we're going to bolt those through. You can see these little holes here. So there's a couple of bolt holes. So we're going to physically bolt those through with coach bolts right through to the other side. So you know, that is going to be well strong once we're done there.
So we're doing quite well. We've got the wooden frame in and the door frame. We're just going to cover that with some OSB and then get the Tyvek on there so it's waterproof, ready for the next day.
That's the double glazed doors fitted. And we've Tyvek these sides as well, just keep that weather tight. Tomorrow hopefully we'll do the roof, get that all boarded out and Tyveked and taped up there, because it's going to be a little while before we can get the cladding. So we hope to get this module completely watertight in the next few weeks, and then we'll move on to number 2 and we'll take down this old shed. Well, the other thing that I haven't mentioned, we've sort of changed our mind a little bit. Do you remember this hole down the front of the original shed? This one that we're going to fill in with concrete, just completely fill it in and make it the same level as the rest of it. We've actually decided that might make a nice storage area, because we've got to store a lot of paperwork and stuff. So what we're thinking now is we're going to dig down, do quite a large foundation all the way around it, and then perhaps dig a hole out and seal it so that we can store files down there, because it's stuff we don't need to see for 6 years or whatever the hell the taxman wants them for. So it's quite a large area that we'd be throwing away otherwise. So I mean, the logistics of it, we've not ironed that out, how we keep it watertight, that kind of thing, but it just seems a waste of you know, like a 6 foot by 2 foot hole. Now, a good tip if you're trying to clean an old double glazed door up. I mean, we've had this for years, this one, so we're just trying to clean it up. You want to get yourself some of this stuff, and it really does do the trick. I mean, it smells horrible, so you don't want to be whiffing it up, but you know, it really does get paint. We got paint splatters on here. It's all looking a bit horrible and a bit weathered, so yeah, it's great stuff if you want to pick up your old double glazing units. So I've been thinking about cladding for the front now, and I might have come up with a solution. I found this composite decking that's 600 by 300, £8.25 including VAT. So I'll just give you a look at that. So it basically has a wood grain effect on it, and it's got these kind of slots. I don't know if you can see those all the way along there. So it slots together and gives you that kind of look of slats with a join around it, and I think that might look quite nice. So yeah, that's a company called roofingoutlet.co.uk. It might work. I've asked for a sample of it. I don't know if they do the end caps, or whether we can find something else that's in plastic, but just to finish off the ends of it round doors and that kind of thing. But it looks quite a nice thing. It's teak, 600 by 300, 22mm thick, and it's not going to need any maintenance, which is, if we went for kind of red cedar or something like that, we're going to have to keep treating it, you know, or letting it go so it turn grey in the end. This stuff doesn't bend, warp, split or crack, so it could be a solution. And I mean, you can lay it in different patterns if you like. They do 300 by 300 or 600 by 300, so you know, that could look quite fancy on the front there, I think. I don't know if the colour's coming out there, but they do also do it in like a light, well, silver grey they call it, which also, you know, if you're going with anthracite panelling on the, you know, on the doors and that might look quite nice as well. So I'm definitely going to have a look into this, because the price point is very good for that size of panel. Well, guess what? Planning to do the roof today, and it's raining again. Bloody British weather. Still, it's looking good so far. Woohoo! Well, typically it's getting heavier and heavier. Now you can see over there how a flat roof starts to pull water. Now that's got a fair bit of angle on that. I think it drops about 2 or 3 inches. You can see where the boards have dipped in between the rafters. So with a metal roof, I'm hoping we're going to get less of that happening. I've never seen water pooling like that on a metal roof, but certainly on flat roofs of any construction you always get a sort of pond forming, which eventually will find its way through. Now, the one thing about rain, it's a complete pain in the arse, but it does actually sound quite nice in here. I think when we get the metal roofing on, it's going to be dead and down, because it'll be a layer of wood and you've got the felt covering underneath. But no, that's quite a pleasing sound, that, really. Like living in a caravan. Okay gang, it is a beautiful day here in sunny California. I don't know if you can check that out, but it is going to be a fantastic weekend apparently. So plans for today, I don't know if you can see me in the sun there. I'm going to get out the sun. Yeah, I'll turn it around that way. Yeah, so it's a beautiful day. What we plan to do is take the plastic off, and then we're going to bolt together those corner brackets today and then get the roof on. So we've got these corner brackets that hold together the sides, and then we've got some M8 bolts. So we're just going to, they're a little bit longer than we need. We could have done with 75mm, but these are 100mm, so we'll have to cut those down. So we're literally going to bolt through the outer skin of the building. So basically it's going to be just a few inches down in each of the 4 corners, and we've also got the front part as well. So we've got that little overhang, so we've got another 2 brackets to go up there, bolt it through. That'll hold the building nice and square and tight, and also to the outer frame. We've used coach bolts so that they're flat with the outer surface, so when we skin it, obviously, you know, it's going to be a nice flat surface. Tyvek over the top today. We've got some double-sided tape. I couldn't get hold of the Tyvek tape, so I've ended up getting some B&Q stuff, which I'm not overly enamoured about, but we need to stop the Tyvek from lifting up in the wind, you know, because we get a lot of wind from that direction, so it's going to flap about. So we'll run it off to the back. We'll leave a bit of an overhang where the gutter's going to go, so that any drips off the roof end up in the gutter and not running down the back of the building behind the metalwork. But just a bit of a note on the roof trusses. We're obviously going to be using these today, so joist hangers. But as you can see up there, the joist does actually sit quite squarely on the back plate, so it's only going to be you know, more of a supporting function than anything, sort of left and right movement. But there's not going to be a lot of stress and strain on these, so you know they're going to be literally well, almost there for show really, because the weight is taken down through the frame. The only place that we are going to really use those is at the front there, because obviously there's nothing holding that up, so you know the joist hangers will sit across there and obviously hold the front section of the joist up. So the idea of these bolts is they're going to go through the holes. You can see that elongated hole there and the round hole. So literally we're going to drill through there from the outside obviously, and then just on the outside you're going to end up with that coach bolt showing. They're a bit longer, like I say, than I really needed, but I couldn't get anything else, this B&Q cutbacks and all that. So that will literally bolt through like that. We'll have to cut those off later on with an angle grind or something like that, but that'll hold the building square and tight together. Right, so we just got another delivery of timber turned up. I'll just talk you through it. So we've got the 120 by 45s there for all the roof joists. We've got some 2.4 metre longs for the walls, and we got the OSB 18mm for the roof. That should be enough to do the entire roof, I'm hoping. We've still got a couple in there for the floor, so I'm thinking we're probably done on the OSB now. That's probably all we need. Right, just going to remove those temporary screws, just holding in that joist. That's it. Okay, now I'm going to fit these bolts up on the roof. Right, so bear with. There we go. A little washer on there as well. So these were a bit too long for what we wanted, but you know, you've got to go with what you can get. So basically every corner will be bolted together like that. Let's get this other one in. Obviously you want tight holes, you don't want too much slop in those, so I've actually drilled an 8mm hole there, so it's going to be nice and tight. And again, you're preventing any shake in the building by doing this. So we'll do that on all the other four corners, and the front we've got this slight overhang, so we'll have another beam across there. Once it's all tight, it should be lovely. And then we're going to put the joist hangers in, stick all the roof trusses in, and then hopefully get it skinned out today. Obviously the roof sheets will end here, right on that line, because the second module is going to bolt through here for the next part of the shed. So you know, you could expand this, you could go 3-4 modules, however big you want to go, but these seem quite a nice size that you can adjust to your requirements really. Right, so just a quick one here. Obviously these joist hangers, just get that back there, they're meant for a lot taller joists, we're 5-inch, and these are clearly for sort of 6 or above. So what I've had to do is just cut them down slightly so they'll sit on top of our beams. So for the back I've just fashioned them like that, you know, flattened off the top, and that's ready to hold our back beam. On the front we're okay with these because it will wrap around the main joist. Right, so I'll just show you what that looks like in place. There it is. And a little bit wrapped around the top, don't know if you can see that. So that just sits on top of that and holds the joist in place. So first couple of joist hangers in the middle going in, and then just show you the detail at the back there. So obviously it's imperative that you get these joists in really tight. You'll see that there, you really need that as close as you can possibly get it, you know, because obviously that's all going to help the building stay rigid. Some people will say, why have I screwed those joist hangers in when I should use the Sheridized nails? There's not a lot of load on here. It's not going to make a great deal of difference whether I hold it with the nails or the screws. It's just merely a positioning thing for myself so that I can get them in the right position and I can move them quite easily if I need to. So it's not holding up a lot of weight either, it is just a shed, let's face it. So all the rafters now in, just in the front overhang, and we can start boarding. Just one thing I will say, if your kids ever suggest that they're going to help you with a project like this, make them sign some kind of a contract or something, because you know they'll help you out initially and then the next thing you know they're back on the games machine and you know, you're left on your own doing it. They'll make use of the thing, but they ain't interested in building it, trust me. Okay, so I've just fitted the front section. So this is like the little overhang. I've just put a couple of joist fillers in there just to keep that straight all the way down. I've obviously had to allow for lighting to go in there as well, so I don't want anything in the centre just in case I want to put a light there. So I'll just show you the detail of that corner. That little overhang has been quite handy because as I'm working on my own, you can obviously rest the piece of wood on there at the front and then attach the other end, so you know you're not trying to support the whole beam by yourself. But you can see how all the boards interconnect there. I'll just show you the top view. So here we are. So we're ready to put the sheet on now. So there'll be 18mm on the top of there, another lot of the Tyvek, and then the metal cladding. Right, okay, now because we made sure that our building's completely square, if you look down there, so we're right on that edge board, but we've also, if you look here, we've got this little overhang, and this will allow us to screw the next board so we can bridge this gap, you know, this little porch area. So everything considered, we're just going to screw this down all the way down, attached to the joists, and then put the next board in. Okay, so we got the first board screwed down there, all looking lovely. So we're just going to do this one over here, and then we'll trim the sides out and then get this waterproof layer on and get that taped down, and we're good to go. Sorry about the shake, I'm a bit shaky with my hand there. So just having a look at that frame down there. Got the bolts in the front corner now, and then as you can see, looking nice and straight along there. Really nice. So working on my own, I found it easier to push the boards up and then kind of rest them on this joist here, so you know, so that you can get up on the roof and then pull it on properly. So here we go. So without falling over, I just fell down the hole there. Get your board up there. So if you wedge the board up there like that, you can then access it above and straighten it all out. Just means that you can work on your own then. It's sort of a one-man rather than a two-man job. Obviously you have two people if you can. It's amazing how much more rigid the building is now we've got this skin on. Okay, so we've got our two boards on. Just got these side bits to fill in. Just a bit unfortunate, but that's the size the building's come up. So, and we've got quite a tight gap. I don't know if you can see that down there, all the way. So keeping it nice and tight. Yeah, it's quite hard going when you're cutting a sheet this long, but just think of all those beers you can have on the back of it. What a beautiful thing. Nearly there. Okay, right, I'm on the roof and I just want to show you this bit before I seal it up. So we're laying the Tyvek, and what we got here is obviously the gutter will go at the back there, so this wants to drip into that. So any water coming down here is going to drip straight into the gutter. Right, we've also got this tape, and what the idea is, that's double-sided tape all the way along. So that's going to stop the new layer from flapping up and down. So we've put it at the front edge of here to try and stop the wind lifting that up, and then we're going to put it along here as well to stop it lifting the next layer up. So it should stick the two pieces together, and we'll end up with kind of a, you know, one piece in the end. Although it's got joins in it, hopefully it'll be just a watertight piece of roof up until we get the cladding on. Okay, just another tip when you're laying this Tyvek, or Tyvek, I keep calling it Tyvek, don't I? Is to position it first and then pull the tape off and stick it down. Otherwise you'll end up with a situation like I did at the front, where you can see it runs off there. It stuck down before I could position it, so you're better off, you know, doing the backing, peeling off the top tape and then laying it down flat. And that way you'll get a nice join in a straight line. Right, so we're at the front now, so we've just got to finish the front piece. Other than that, it's all looking good. Covered and watertight. So we've got the roof all covered in now. Looking fairly tidy. So just give you an idea of how high the building is, we're running at 236. We could go up to 250, which is about where that loop is at the top there, just at the very top. So we're well under. Even when we put the corrugated metal on there, we're still going to be probably about 238. So plenty of room. So if you wanted a little bit of ceiling height and you didn't have neighbours that weren't too concerned about what it looked like, you could go and grab yourself, you know, a few more centimetres of head height there. It's another beautiful sunny day. Plans for today are to draw up a set of plans so you can build your very own man cave, exactly like the one we've done. We've also got the added complication that we've got to move the contents of the old shed somewhere so we can knock that down. Now you probably won't have that problem, so I'm going to put the floor in the new module, and then we're going to transfer, well, some of the junk. We're going to sort through the shed, and then we're going to throw away what we don't need, and then hopefully clear it, build the new module, and then lift the floor up again and insulate it. So, you know, it's overcomplicated, but you know, we've just got to roll with what we've got. So so that's the plan for today. So I'm going to have a measure up, and then I will post the plans online so that you can build your very own man cave. Okay, so it's floor time now, so I'm going to have a sweep up in a moment. It's all looking fairly sawdusty down there. But what I wanted to show you was these little floor supports. As we've only got a 4-inch floor, what we want to do is hold it up off the deck with these little blocks. So we're going to get another piece of this DPC, lay it underneath just to protect it a bit more, and then base this down on the deck and then saw it level with these joists. So when you're standing on the floor, you're not actually standing on these, you're physically supported by the blocks, you know, which are in direct contact with the ground. So it should mean that we get a fairly solid floor, because no one wants a bouncy floor. The other thing we need to look at, hold on, I'll just turn it around so I can see what I'm filming here, is this layer, this damp-proof layer. Obviously it's like a pond liner, but we want to keep the dampness out. That's the name of the game anyway. So what we're going to do is flip this up all the way around the building, just so any water is drawn to the outside. So this will wrap up all the way around. It will just sit behind your walling. We're going to use ply, I think, in here for walling. So because we think that plasterboard is going to obviously crack with any movement. So yeah, so we're going to wrap that up behind it. Obviously put the insulation in the walls. Vapor barrier, which I think we're going to use that Tyvek foil just to try and really maintain a nice temperature in here without too much heat. So so there you go. So that's the next stage. I will show you when the blocks are in, and then we'll lay the floor. Just cutting down the flooring now, so that we've got a long board, then just a little short access panel. So that's going to sit under where those little supports are all the way. Right, so this is turning out to be a bit of a boring day. I'm cutting the noggins for the walls and the purlins for the roof. So when you're down the pub and you're talking about your man cave and how you constructed it, you know that biz. Right, so obviously wood is a natural product, so it wants to twist and turn and go every which way that you don't want it to. So what we've got is our noggins in the wall now, so they go all the way along there. I've done them in a straight line so that when we attach the outer metal sheet, hopefully if my aim is good, I'll hit in the middle of that all the way around there. Yeah, so we'll get some central holes in the metal sheet. For the roof, also to stop saggy bits, we've got our purlins. So we've got those all the way across there now. Okay, all across the middle. I don't know if you can see that there. And they're just to stop these bits from sagging down, because no one wants saggy bits. I mean, you know, it's just not going to happen. So the theory is that breaking that down into smaller units, less likelihood of that's going to come down and start sagging. And obviously if you had felt on the top, water would start pooling on there, you know. So we've got metal sheet, shouldn't be a problem. Not a lot of weight up there either, so that's why we've gone with the 5-inch timbers. Job's a good one. I'll just give you a wide view of those purlins. So there's the purlins, and coming down to the noggins all the way around at wall level. So I'm just doing a quick test. So we've got noggins, purlins, noggins, nothing for repair, not in this game. Alright my love? Right, I'm just looking at the stuff that we've got left over. We've got a lot of the 120 by 45s. I think that's predominantly because they only sell that in 4.2 metres, so we don't need that long. That is incredibly long. We can use some of it up for the purlins. I'm probably going to use it to line the hole that we're digging in the front for the filing cabinet. The 4x2s, we can forget about those because they were of the second order. I just thought I was going to need a few more joists and stuff in there. So so not too bad. And the sheets that we've got left over, we just got the loft cuts. So we've got that little lot there, which we can probably use on the next roof. And we've got that lot there. So I think we're just going to have to watch what we order next time. Obviously we know it's 3 sheets for the roof here to tub that out, but obviously the new roof is going a little bit further out, so we should be able to use a lot of the offcuts for that. Well, I've just thought of a new game concept, and I'm going to call it Jenga. So, of all the man cave videos that I've seen online, no one really looks at how you get ventilation into the roof. Now, we haven't got any option for that at the back, but these purlins up here, we're going to have to obviously drill holes through those, and then on the front beam we're going to drill holes through there. I don't know if you can see that, the light's a bit blurry there. Yeah, so we're going to drill holes through there, and obviously on the outside we've got that overhang, and we've got, you know, nothing in there, so it's a void. So once we clad that, we'll have a continuous air vent all the way along, so the air will go up there, come out the top above our insulation, and then flow freely around. So we're going to drill holes through these as well, just to allow cross ventilation through there, and the same with the floor. So I'll just turn you around there. So down in these panels, what we're going to do is drill some pipes. So we'll have an air vent outside there coming down and piped into the floor underneath, so we can have our insulation under the floor. We've got like 2 inches, maybe 3 of insulation in there, and then these pipes will allow air to flow underneath, just so you don't get any rot. Well, I've just figured out that I've actually spent the last few weeks talking to myself, but if you've enjoyed it, please subscribe, and we'll see you on the next video about building Pod 2 and fitting out the man cave with all the manly stuff we need. So see you then. Thanks a lot. Right, apart from the Great Escape, I don't know a lot about digging and tunnelling. But what I do know is that if you don't support the hole, then things start getting a bit tricky and things start collapsing on you. So our storage, we've started digging, as you can see down there, and in the hole. So I've started digging down, but we're already getting some stuff falling in there. So what the plans are now is I'm going to get some reinforcing bar, drive it down the edges, and then put some plastic sheeting, some of this pond liner stuff, weave it in between the bars all the way around just to support the soil, and then we'll build an inner frame and fill it up with concrete, so we'll get a reinforced wall at the end of the day. And hopefully, I mean, if we drill those bars down deep enough, I'm thinking maybe 2.5 meters, you know, then we can dig out enough space down there and have a little basement area for all these files. So that's the plan. So that should end up being about hopefully 2 meters deep in the end. Wish me luck. It's a lot of digging. One thing that is for certain, I'm not going to walk around the park and try and unload this out my trouser leg. We're definitely going to need a skip for this lot.